Good day, everybody. Joshua Laycock here. Day, 78, 79. It's pretty crazy. I don't think I've ever done this many videos in total, forget in a row. So today I'd like to I'm sort of recording something for posterity's sake, and this may not resonate with you, but tough cookies. It's my video and I get to do whatever I want. Caleb does mixed martial arts, mostly jiu-jitsu, and up until yesterday, he'd been in the Munchkin class. So it's maybe 10, 12 kids. They're all sort of 5 to 4 or 5 years old. And they do a little bit of work, a little bit of drilling, a little bit of grappling, but a lot of games, and it's a whole lot of fun. But on the weekend when he was there, the coach approached Caleb and I and said, "Do you think you're ready to go up to the junior class?" And Caleb, of course, was like, "Yeah, I'm ready." So the step from Munchkin to junior is pretty significant. The class is, it's huge. It's maybe got 30 kids all the way up to, I think, 8 or 9 years old. There are still games and they still obviously have fun, but it's a lot more drilling. It's a lot more designed for the kids who are starting to maybe get a little bit more serious about the sport. And so it's a lot more chaotic and frenetic, and the ratio of instructors to students is lower by necessity, and so you kind of have to figure it out on your own. So I had been a little nervous for him. I wasn't sure how he was going to handle the step up into the junior class. And yesterday, as we were going, I said, "You ready?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "You excited?" He said, "Yeah." And he knew something was up. He's like, "Why? Why shouldn't I be?" And thankfully, I was smart enough to go, "No reason. I'm excited for you. This is going to be amazing." But in the back of my mind, I was nervous. I wasn't sure if he was going to be able to handle that energy and that chaos. And we got him ready as usual, and he was so excited. And he was like, "I'm ready to go see a lot of my friends," because a lot of his friends had graduated into the junior class. And anyway, he ran off, and of course he killed it, and he slayed it, and he had so much fun. And he just looked around and followed what the other kids were doing. And at the end of class, he was like, "That was so incredible! I can't wait to do it again." And he was more stoked after that class than he normally was. And he was like, "You know what I love? I like that the classes are bigger, and it's my buddies, and there's a lot more grappling, and less games, and that was amazing." And I was so unbelievably proud of him for the way he handled that. And he just really stepped into that and slayed it. And even the coaches afterwards came over and gave him a high five because they knew it was his first class. So they were keeping an eye on him, and he did really, really well. But you know what's funny about all of this is, and I was talking to one of the parents, because also one of his buddies, it was his first class, his first junior class today. And I was speaking with his mom, and she said, "I'm more nervous than he is." And that's the truth. Caleb wasn't nervous at all. I was nervous for him. I was projecting my own shit onto him. He is so much better at working a crowd and making friends and getting out there and being adventurous at that age than I still am. I still struggle with that. And it's amazing how much of my own shit I transferred to them, And yes, as parents, we make sure that we teach them the good things, that we try to, get them to think about eating healthy and being fit and being kind and all those things that are important. But we also have to make sure that by extension, we don't transfer our own issues to them, that we don't create anxiousness and anxiety and stress unnaturally onto them, because they may experience that on their own, but also they're just going to pick that up from us. And I'm glad that I recognized that early on, and I didn't even give him an opening that this might be stressful, that this might be. But in my mind, that's where I was going. And as a parent, as a kid, I dealt with a lot of anxiety, a lot of social anxiety, a lot of nervousness and stress, and I would be in my own head a lot. And the idea of being thrown into a social situation like that with very little structure, nobody that I really know other than maybe a couple kids, that would have given me tremendous anxiety, probably to the point where I wouldn't have done it, to be completely honest with you. And Kate has also dealt with some anxiety and some stress, although she's much better at meeting people and interacting socially than I am as well. She's so much better at that than I am. But it's important that as parents, we don't pass on our shit. That there is a time, I think, where we as individuals might need to suffer in silence a little bit. And I know that that's not a popular thing to say, but it's true. And in that respect, so I was nervous for him, but there was no value added by me articulating that stress, certainly not to him. And that's what I mean by suffering in silence, not working through mental health issues and not having conversations with therapists. I hope that goes without saying. But what I'm talking about is in this situation, and I'll be honest, when I'm not sure of my career path right now. There's a lot of uncertainty going on. And, I feel like I may be articulating some of those uncertainties a little too much with Kate. And I can see, notwithstanding her tremendous support for me and all the different directions that I like to go in, I can see that it's creating a level of uncertainty for her that she's not comfortable with. And that's another one of those moments where sometimes we have to not pass on our shit to other people, not just kids, and it's a tough balance, because I know that a lot of people resist getting help for issues that they're dealing with, whether it's stress, anxiety, or some more severe mental health issues. I know that one of the reasons a lot of people don't want to talk to someone else about it is because they don't want to be a burden. And I want to be clear, it's not about not speaking to people about it, but it is about finding the right people to speak to these things about it. Like, it's okay if I articulate my nervousness for Caleb to my wife or to the other parents, but I don't want to push that shit onto them. I don't want to make my problems their problem. And it's the same with career-wise, as I'm swirling through all these changes and trying to decide what's my path look like. There may be a time where I don't need to pass on that shit to my family, who in many ways, not entirely, but certainly in part, relies on me to be the provider for our family. One of the providers, but a provider. So it's important. And we need to learn how to deal with our issues. We need to learn how to manage our stress and how to get help in the right channels, in the right avenues, to make sure that we don't make our problems someone else's problem. A therapist doesn't make your problems their problem. They're there to help you work through them. A good friend is there to sometimes allow you to vent and will give you good and honest, candid advice. But they don't make your problem their problem. And you know what? Sometimes there is a situation where you may have to call on someone, a spouse, a good friend, and say, I'm in the mix and I need help, and I might need someone to get into the trench with me on this one. But those should be few and far between. And I do believe that we should never pass on that burden to our children, because they will then learn to do that with other people, and it will just continue to escalate. But man, is it ever a great reminder that the best way to raise our children is not to hide the hard things from them. It's not to hide the stress and the anxiety. And while that certainly plays a part, the truth is we need to learn to deal with our shit. we need to learn to deal with the fact that I'm stressed out because he might be stressed out. Maybe. That's such wasted energy. You know, there's a fantastic Stoic quote from Seneca. I'm going to paraphrase it because I don't memorize them. But effectively, there's a few of them, and one of them is, you know, when you worry about something ahead of the fact, you suffer needlessly. You suffer twice. And in my case, if you worry about something or you're anxious about something that may not even come to pass, and if it ultimately decides not to come to pass, you've suffered needlessly, and that's just a giant waste. You know, I should have given Caleb the benefit of the doubt that he was going to thrive. There was nothing in his past that would have suggested to me that he would have done anything but that. I was simply projecting my own insecurities and my own issues on him, my own anxieties of social situations. So anyway, that's something that I've been thinking through. And I'll be honest, I'm thinking about it, ironically, in anticipation of tonight. A very good friend of mine is also a lawyer that I use a lot, and their firm is having a party tonight. And I'm going because I want to support my good friend. He's at a new firm. I want to make sure that his clients show up and that we have fun, and I enjoy spending time with him. But even now, at 39, going to a function of professionals, most of whom I will know, and most of whom I think on some level respect me as a professional, I still get nervous and anxious. I just do. I don't know why. I don't get... It used to be to the point where my anxiety would just be, I'm not going. And now I go and I work through it and I deal with it and I use it as an opportunity to learn and to steel myself against these challenges, but also just to have fun with my buddy and have a drink and you know, talk about the successes we've had over the past year and looking forward to where things are going to go. So we need to sort our own shit out, and we need to make sure that we don't burden others unnecessarily, but also know when to ask for real help. And that's what I have for today. I'm going to continue my drive. I'm going to grab a coffee. But really the main takeaway for me is just how proud I am of Caleb, that he stepped into this new world, that he thrived. And I have no doubt that him continuing in jiu-jitsu, and again, the parallels of life, the confidence that this sport is giving him, the ability to square up his shoulders, the ability to be confident and have a little bit of swagger is fantastic, and I love watching it. So to the extent that this is a chronicle or a document of the things that I think and the things that I'm feeling, and maybe he watches this in the future, I don't know, that'd be pretty cool. Caleb, I love you, and I'm very, very proud of you. Keep it up. Have a fantastic day, and I will see you all tomorrow.